Welcome back to the sawmill, folks. Yesterday proved a saying that is very, very true. Some days you're the hammer, and some days you're the nail. Yesterday, I wasn't just the nail, I got whooped on with a sledgehammer. That's how bad it was. I videoed most of it, and it got so bad that I rage shut the video off and ruined it. I watched it back last night, and it really wasn't that bad what was left of it. But I shut it off and I didn't put it up. And I'm going to show you a little bit about what we got ourselves into and what happened, because it was not a happy day. We started out, we get a lowboy trailer deck to mill out of oak, black oak, red oak. And I figured I want to get a jump start on it because it was a little bit warmer out. It's going to go subarctic. We're going to get some snow Sunday night, and it's going to go subarctic after that. And I didn't know when the next time I'm going to be able to mill is. So I figured I'd get a jump start on it. I'll show you the plan here I went down and measured their trailer. And so this looks kind of segmented, but it makes sense to me. But what I figured out was that if I milled at 6.5 inches wide, everything a little over 11 too long, I could mill 37 of them and cover this whole trailer, and it would make sense. And I'm not going to go into the math on it, but let's just say it made sense that offcuts can be used for smaller sections, and that was going to be enough wood to cover it. So basically, it's about 400 board feet. It's a $1,200 job at $3 a board foot. Figured I could knock it out in maybe an hour and a half, and I pulled a monster log. It was like 11.4, 28 inches around, like 26 on the small end. Real big black oak log that's been here a while that I actually took down, cut up, and moved off of out of a backyard. I thought I knew the log. I did end up hitting metal in it first pass, roach in a band. There was one more piece of metal in it. I went through metal detecting it the whole 9 yards. And then we started trying to turn it, and my log turner was having trouble with the weight. Very heavy log, heavier than the spruce we picked up on video. That was 4,300 pounds. This log was heavier. I'll show you a chunk of it because I plan on trying to salvage what I can out of what happened. Okay, so through all the trials and tribulations of running the new hydraulics and trying to turn the log with the log turner and the clamp both, I got it turned. I ended up making one cut a little bit skewed. I found out that my stops aren't square, and there's really no way to square them up. They're not very far out of square, but they're out of square. I figured that if I could roll it with the log turner, then I could kind of jelly roll it or gun barrel it down, because it was borderline too big for the mill in some spots. And it turned into a disaster. I got to cut off out of skew on a pretty wide face, and then I had to try to fix it, and I was having trouble turning it. I threw it off the mill a couple times, but I got everything finally worked out, milled through it, and I'll show you what I ended up with. Just for reference, that is a slab cut off of the mill. I mean, off of this log. That's a slab cut. It was a big log. And I ended up having to pull some slabs off it when I was trying to undo the skewed part. I'll show you what the skewed part looks like here, because I have a couple of these that still have it on it before I got it squared up. You see those right there? See how they have that skewed edge? I finally got it squared up, but I had to take some slabs off it. These are going to get cut down, but this is what I ended up with in the middle. When I finally got it into a cant, 2 cants actually, split and started taking 2 by 6.5s out of it, the whole center of the log's gone. I'm going to set you guys up so I can flip this over, but The log was completely sound to the eye. It was completely sound, and all of a sudden I started making some cuts, and man, the band just started whizzing through the middle section. I couldn't even see anything that was wrong with it. I was like, oh shit, there's something wrong in the middle. Well, this is what we ended up with. So this ruins the 11.2s. I don't think I got a decent board at 11.2 out of it. We might get some out of those over there, but this is me throwing my, and these have to be recut. I've got to take a couple more 2-inch pieces out of these. I just got to try to figure out, I was too mad to go on the section of all these 2x6.5s are, they're true 2x6.5s. The centers are all rotten. I had some of them falling apart when I was picking them up. And now what that leaves me with is, instead of sending them all 11'2s, I got to try to save as much of this as I can so I don't shit this log. And this log was good for nothing, basically. But because of the way that I have sections on here at different lengths, and I'll just give you a for instance, if you see these need to be 63 inches long, these are 2 parts. It's got double hydraulic ramps on it. And 2 of the ramps are 63 long by 32 wide. 2 of the ramps are 68 long. There's also a weird section on the fantail at an angle of 2 footers going across here. These boards here on this part of the fantail actually run sideways, and they got to be 8'2" long, which I don't know that I'm going to get any 8'2s, but I can get plenty of 63s, maybe 68s, and plenty of 2 footers out of what I have here. So that's kind of what my goal is today. I'll just give you a for instance. I'm going to square this end off down here. And I also have all the sections tagged by a letter. And I will tag these with a lumber crayon now. Basically, all I'm going to do is I'm going to square up the end. I got a bump on that one. Just square up the end. Measure how far I go till I get to bab wood. See what that measurement looks like. See what it'll fit on the list. And then tag it, put it to the side, keep track of them until I get through this log. And then I have another big log. Danny, stay in here. Out back that I can pull down to now. I will cut these all long, so if it needs to be a 63, I'm not going to cut it at 63. I'll cut it as big as I can so that they have a little bit to trim. Because our measurements are kind of general and they are used to fitting everything by themselves. So in this particular piece here, before I get into big trouble, I got 74 inches here. So I'm actually going to cut this at 74. Tag it as a 68. As long as when I make this cut, it still looks solid, or it'll go down to a 63. Danny. Give myself a good place to work. I'm a builder by life. And I cut very square. So the end of this is solid. This is a solid 74 inches. So I will mark it as a 68, which is a letter D. So we will mark this as a D somewhere on the end. And I will make a note that I got one of those. I need a total of 10 of them. I'm sorry. I need a total of 20 of them. not just the D's. I need 10 D's and 10 E's. So we'll put just a little dot down here that we got one of those. I think there's 5 on each ramp. There's 4 ramps. And I will put this one to the side. So that's pretty much, put a D on both ends too, just in case they're stacked funny. And I will get these stacked off to the side. Then I will take a little section out of this piece here before I get to the rot. This will end up being one of the ones that's going to be those 2-footer, those weird 2-foot ones. And I'll tag them all, put them all to the side, see what I've got, and clean up what I have over here on the mill. I got to make a couple of recuts there, a couple more cuts there, take all those down, edge them into pieces, kind of go through the same process. Some of those have some weird spots in them, and this particular company is a big paving construction company, and I don't want to give them, they're being good to me by giving me the order, and I don't want to give them any crap. So every piece that I give them is going to be a 100% piece. But I just want to shoot a little quick video. Like I said, we got rain coming in, and I really can't do anything. It's Saturday. But it's just really discouraging. Yesterday was just a bad day. I mean, all the fighting and everything I went through with this monster log, and I ended up with a pile of trash. Basically, I'm going to save some of it, but it's really a pile of trash. I figured, you know, oh, $1,200 in an hour and a half, man, what a great deal. So didn't turn out that way. So it doesn't go, you know, a lot of times when you guys see me pulling up a log and mapping it out and saying, this is what I need and this is what I'm going to get. And most of the time, 99% of the time, it works out. It works out. I get exactly what I'm looking for. Well, yesterday, it did not work out. I am testing out, I should have done this in the beginning, a pair of Mechanix gloves. They send me prototypes to test out and wreck and then give them feedback. These were a little too loose for everyday work for me when it was warmer and I was working with a tool belt and stuff like that. They were a little bit too big and sloppy, but I tell you what, this pair of prototypes here has been great. They're warm. They're really heat resistant. I can work in the burn barrel and grab burning stuff and putting stuff in the wood stove and carrying firewood. They're really, really wear resistant. Now, these are prototypes. They're not out yet, but Tom, if you watch this, I just want you to know that I'm working on this pair right now, and I'm really impressed with this pair for being outside in the winter. But anyway, I'm going to get at this and try and get as much done as I can here before the bad weather comes in and kind of get them put over to the side where it makes sense. And next week, it's going to be crappy tonight, tomorrow. It's going to go rain to snow tomorrow. Monday is supposed to be decent, I think. I don't know what we're going to look like because we could get 8 inches of snow. And then it's going to go crazy subarctic, like highs in the teens for a few days. I think the best day next week's like next Friday. So we'll see if the highs in the teens, if it's nice and dry out, we'll do some milling. If it's not nice and dry out, we probably won't. And I'll try to get some small videos out. We'll try to do some editing on them and start getting our editing down and a better product out on the channel. I appreciate the watch, and hit me up with any condolences. You know, it's just another day's work. We'll get through it. And I'm going to, hopefully this will make it easier for them because they'll kind of, some of these smaller pieces they're going to get as smaller pieces rather than having to break them all down. A lot of them are going to be broken down now, especially that chunk that I got on the ground right there. You know, if I can get a 2-inch slab out of the bottom of that right there, I can probably break that down into a bunch of these 68s and 63s as well. Maybe even get 2 of them out of it. It's a fairly big chunk, but you can see when I made the slab cut, you can see what was left to the other side of it. There was just nothing there. So the cut itself made sense, but I think there's some good wood in here. I don't know if it'll go 8 feet long, but it'll definitely do the 63s and 68s. So it's really too bad. It's a really pretty log. There was a lot of great medullary rays in it. It's got really nice color on the sound parts, but it is just a load of junk. I mean, just absolute junk. So we're going to try and save as much as we can. And for now, for Danny, who was over there, he's been getting in trouble. He's been going over into the engineering firm next door. He's been going over in their parking lot whenever he hears a car show up there, well, in the backside. So he's got in trouble a couple times. He's being careful now. But unfortunately, I got to keep an eye on him. So for Danny and myself, hope you guys have a great weekend. Hope you guys are warm and dry wherever you are. And this Pirate Solutions out.